Well, let me have coming on one hand, we have governments in India and Pakistan that have little oversight, and then we have these companies that act as proxies of politicians. Have reforms taken place, or do you think that presents a danger to the concept of free markets?
I think this is danger to the free market, because what happened that in India and Pakistan, both countries, the people who get elected, before they get elected, they call, oh, we are giving them ticket. It's like nomination in the United States. So when nominations are done, people buy those tickets. The legislator pay millions of dollars to buy those tickets. So once they are in power, they have to make that money, because they borrow money from, they borrow from bank, they borrow from friends, and it might not be on the record if you borrow from friends. But once you are in power, you have to make that money, and I think it's compromise safety, it compromise laws, it's compromise moral. And then when you talk with those people, they said, well, you know, we have to do it because we don't have any option. Where would we get money? Where we would repay those money that we got before the election? So it's kind of whole system is perpetuated in corruption, and I think we have to kind of accept it for next 5 or like 10 or 15 years, and eventually those people get thrown out after each election. System will reform itself. You know, it will take some time, I guess.
But do you think the business is still vulnerable at the hands of the government in the sense that it is still taxed, licensed, stamped, given permission at every step?
Business is vulnerable, of course, but I think when you keep this process moving, eventually these things would go away gradually. See, for example, in the United States, I'm sure that before this we didn't have these kind of so many accountability laws. It was Democrats who brought these laws to protect the public, mostly. So I think these things, same thing would happen in India and Pakistan. So media is relatively free. They kind of try to clean the system, and eventually it would get cleaner and cleaner. But I agree with you that it costs a lot on the production level, because people get discouraged. They think, okay, these products are not good, laws are very relaxed, these people who are in power, they can do whatever they want to do, and eventually you really cannot get them caught. If you get it, they are not punished. They just go free in both countries, in India and Pakistan. And I mean, take the example of Pakistan. We have Mr. Zardari, who is president of that country, and if you Google Mr. 10%, you would get his name. You don't get any other name. So this is the person who by design is made president of that country. So there is really no faith in the system. So even media is free, corruption is still there, and it's very difficult to get rid of it.
Will India be able to cope with the aftermath of a massive scam effectively and focus on corruption, alleviating corruption? Starting with you very briefly, please, Joe.
Yeah, I agree with the last panelist that these things do take time. A young democracy cannot have all the laws in place to protect the public. And in our Constitution, the preamble says, in order to form a more perfect union. And I think we are still working on making it more perfect. Each year, and I think we need leadership. We need honest leaders who are willing to sacrifice even their own stay in power. They're willing to be voted out of office by setting the example of trying to eliminate all of the things in the society that are not for the benefit of the public.
It takes time. We have had our scandals. We had Civil War. We had Teapot Dome in the 20s, Watergate in the 70s, where right after that happened, they were almost wrote off the Republican Party. They've since made 2 comebacks, or 3 perhaps. It takes time. It's multi-generational. And I always like to emphasize this: the press that hopefully they have a free press there, or it's close to it. The press is the watchdog. They have to do it, and there has to be moral fiber with the leadership.
Dr. Singh?
India is a sham democracy. 40% people living below the poverty line, farmers committing suicide. And in the federal government, if it may be said that the government there is of the corrupt, by the corrupt, for the corrupt, then it may not be wrong, as majority of Indians are untouched by any benevolence or any good policies of the federal government. They are distributing wealth amongst themselves, whatever in the name of progress and 8% growth rate they are claiming. It's not reaching down to the people.
Chuck.
Yeah, I think I agree with the need for really a moral foundation of both the leadership but also the common people. That until you have that and until the people's caring for one another becomes more important than their own self-interest, we're going to have corruption.
Comment?
I'm one of the optimistic. I think system is improving gradually. People's living standard is better than it was like 10 or 15 years ago. Indian GNP is a lot higher than it used to be. Income per capita is higher. So once, even we can say that upper layer is benefiting more. That is true in every society, even in this country. But eventually benefit would get distributed to lower level and it would take some time.